Now, many of you already know that NVIDIA is a company that is supplying most of the EV car with chips, right? Or most car companies with chips, and they've been getting a lot of massive support from China, because China, you know that when it comes to especially new energy vehicle market or electric vehicle market, it dominates the entire world. The 70% of the new energy vehicle cars are being sold in China, which therefore means that business for NVIDIA on chips onto those vehicles is quite important. It is for that reason that when President Trump a couple of months back restricted some of the chips to be shipped to China, NVIDIA CEO felt the urge to go to China and talk to Chinese leaders and business people to say that they remain committed into making sure that they get the chips that they've been receiving. Quality does not get to be compromised and all that, which is very, very good. The purpose of today's video is about what the NVIDIA CEO once again said. Apparently, he visited China once again, and he made quite an interesting statement about Xiaomi Neo, Leoro, and Xpeng, which is why I'm doing this video today. I mean, he said he was with Lei Jun, the CEO of Xiaomi, and he was showed the Xiaomi YU7, which is the only SUV under Xiaomi brand. And he said that car, it's great technology, it's top notch, and he will want to buy, or he can even buy that car. That is after he was asked a question about it. But then he did not stop there. He spoke about Leoro, saying that Leoro has got massive space. He spoke about Neo, saying Neo, it's up there, and Xpeng also, it's up there, which I think someone who shared me this video was like, it was very interesting to hear that he's really commending Xiaomi, because truth be told, that video, it was really commending Xiaomi. But why won't he do that? Because Xiaomi, you will know, especially the YU7 has got over 300,000 orders. And can I tell you something? Autonomous driving chips that are being used onto Xiaomi cars come from NVIDIA, and we can safely say Xiaomi has become one of the biggest clients of NVIDIA, which is why it will make sense for NVIDIA CEO to really recommend the Xiaomi brand or the Xiaomi car, because look, 300,000 chips. I don't know how many chips they are using, but I know they are using Orin chips of NVIDIA, right? They might be using 3 or 4. Now, 300,000 multiplied by 3 or 4 chips per car, that's a lot of money for NVIDIA, man. Which is why he will, of course, give some recommendation, because he knows that this is where the money is coming. I mean, with our very own Neo, you will know that we don't depend, or most of our models don't depend onto NVIDIA Orin chips anymore, because Neo has developed their in-house chip that is able to give even a much more powerful computing power than the kind of chips we were getting from NVIDIA, which is something that is great. Xpeng also launched their chip called the Thor, I think 2 weeks back, with the 700 computing power. And that chip also, it simply means that Xpeng will not or does not have to depend on NVIDIA to get their chips. Leoro, it's also in a process of making or building their own chips, because they've been hiring expertise in their company to start developing their own chips. And these, ladies and gents, you can see that at the end of the day, even Xiaomi is going to start developing their own chips, and NVIDIA, of course, will really have to work hard to convince the existing customers probably not to leave NVIDIA or not use NVIDIA chips. It is for this reason that the NVIDIA CEO also highlighted, or when he was talking about Xiaomi, ended with a statement of he would definitely buy, of course, Xiaomi YU7, the new SUV. Now, he also said something very important on that video, where he was saying Chinese new energy vehicle market, or Chinese cars, continue to surprise the world in terms of technology advancement, in terms of the product they are building. He said it's game over, right? to the other countries, because China is where the car innovation is at, or is where the new energy vehicle innovation is at. And who is leading that innovation? We already know that it has to be NIO. NIO, it is with no doubt a company which is the one leading the innovation, the technology. There are not many companies that can really come and match or talk to NIO when it comes to technology. NIO is up there, and even though NIO is no longer using NVIDIA chips, NVIDIA CEO knows that too, that NIO is a company that obviously it's doing well, man. It's really doing a lot of benchmark or industry benchmarks, and a lot of even Chinese EV makers or car makers, they are fighting so hard to get to the kind of level that NIO is at, because that level, it's a level that is really making or creating a very good name for NIO, which is absolutely great. So yeah, man, my dear friends, this is what the NVIDIA CEO was saying about China, Xiaomi, NIO, Lioro. Tell me what you think about this, man. I mean, it's not the first time. I mean, just this past weekend, we're talking of the Ford CEO who said, look, without China, there is no technological advancements in their cars. They need magnets for wipers, they need magnets for seats, magnet for speakers, and for the motors. And the best magnets, they are found in China. So what he was actually saying is that unless you get, or if you're a car maker or a car producer, unless you're getting your magnets for your models in China, then the car unfortunately is not going to be to meet the standard of the cars in China, which speaks a lot of volumes. We've discussed about that. He said he's looking at shipping some of the electric vehicles or new energy vehicle cars, or cars rather, from China and deassemble them in the US. Just try to see and calculate how far China has become, or China has reached in terms of their advancement. He does recognize that China is very far. There is no place in the world where you can go and see advancement inside a car than in China. China, it is an undisputed champion. You cannot talk about technology without talking about China into cars. And this is what is making or restricting of course, some of the countries like the US to not allow Chinese technology to penetrate their country, because they know once they let companies like NIO penetrate the US market, it's lights out or it's game over, right? When it comes to the local new energy vehicle car producers like your Lucid and Rivian, right? And Ford themselves. I mean, have a look at what is happening even to Tesla in China. They are continuing to lose a market share because the competition there is just tough. Competition there is too much, and you have to be someone who's spending a lot onto the R&D if you want to be relevant for the longest period, which is something that I suppose, man, we are definitely going to see more of that. And I don't know where is the restrictions, or where the restrictions are going to end, or when the United States is going to allow maybe Chinese EV makers like NIO to penetrate the country, because it is not just only good to those Chinese countries or those Chinese companies, but it's also good to the local US companies, because then they get to advance also, as they see massive advancements from obviously China's new energy vehicle cars. They will also strive to advance. I made a statement previous months, previous weeks. Every time I remember about this, I do make this comment to say that if Rivian and Lucid really want to test their products, how about they ship them off to obviously China, where the new energy vehicle market is at, and see how they perform. If they can get some pretty good decent sales there, then I think we can all agree that it will mean that they are great products, right? Which is, I suppose, they will see in the future or in the near future. I don't think they will just want to sell in the US. But anyways, I just wanted to give you the latest developments coming from the NVIDIA CEO in terms of what he just said, when he thinks, or when he about the new energy vehicle market in China, talking about Xiaomi, Lioro, Neo, and Xpeng. See you on the next one. Like, share, subscribe. That's all from me, and God bless you all.